Hello and welcome to my review of the Lord Invocatus or Invocatus for World Eaters for Warhammer 40,000. One of these models will cost you £37.50 but comprises of 66 plastic components, which is only really 11 components fewer than the Demon Primarch Angron. It's a multi-part plastic kit that you can build Lord Invocatus with, or you can build a World Eaters Lord on Juggernaut. And good news, if you've already got a Juggernaut lying around and hasn't got a unit saddled on it, you can use the parts to make the Lord on the Juggernaut and just build them and put the model on the spare Juggernaut. The structure of this video, as always, I will take a closer look at the miniature. We'll go through all the spare parts, of which there are quite a lot. Then I'll go through some size comparisons, and finally I will go through all of the rules for this particular Lord Invocatus. Now, I don't have a Lord on Juggernaut. I'm waiting for the World Eaters Combat Patrol, which shouldn't be too long, hoping that the Combat Patrol would be released sooner. But I can hold them in no longer, so that's why you're getting the reviews now, which does mean that there aren't any Khorne Berserkers or Jackals or the Lord on Juggernaut until that box is released. So let's have a look at the miniature itself. Although I didn't build this model in a Warhammer live stream, I did build the Slaves to Darkness Eternus, and they're very similar. These £37.50 dual kits are very, very similar in scope, where you get either an HQ unit or a named character, and it's the same for Slaves to Darkness with Eternus and the Chaos Lord. Before I look at the detail of the model, big shout out to the instruction guide. Very nice instruction guide. There's loads of options here. You know, you can build Invocatus, or you can build the World Eaters Lord on Juggernaut with a helmet option or a helmetless, with a plasma pistol or a chain sword. You can even change the armor for the front of the Juggernaut. The Invocatus doesn't really have any options, but the Lord itself has two different kind of nose options, and has the chain axe or the chain sword. I prefer the look of the chain axe, but I prefer the pose of the chain sword. And of course you get a helmeted version and a helmetless, and they even show you you know, the differences there. So let's have a look at the detail of this miniature. Absolutely fantastic. Bigger than I expected. I like that sense of motion. I was, when building it, a bit apprehensive about these stones here, because they are a bit fragile when you're gluing things, but there's enough base on the rear there to make a solid model, so I won't worry too much about that. About those rocks there. The chain axe is nice, the helmet is really, really cool, the Juggernaut is fantastic. It's got this chain sword on the top of its head. Yeah, it's just fantastic, and it looks very different to the Lord on Juggernaut too. So much like with the Eternus and the Chaos Lord for Slaves to Darkness, I can't recommend these sort of dual kits enough. Yes, they are £37.50, but they are a joy to build, and there's enough variety with the two models that you can build from this kit to pick up a second one. It just so happens that they're bundling the Lord Invocatus or Chaos Lord on Juggernaut in the upcoming Combat Patrol. So that's the Lord Invocatus. Time to show you the spare parts. I don't think you will believe just how many spare parts there are. Look how many there are right here. It's almost another Juggernaut with the kit, because you're getting the different legs. So the different legs and the armor symbols and things, and the pose for the Chaos Lord on Juggernaut are different. Look, so there's 4 different legs there with the rocks in a different position. You're getting a different neck, you know, collar. You're getting a different head, and remember there are 2 forms of this head. There's the one with this spiky bronze piece, or there's just this horn. So there's those. You're getting the different chain axe and chain sword. With a bit of modification, there's no reason why you couldn't put these on your, you know, Khorne Berserkers that are on their way. You've got the different body and the different head and a different, that's the other part of the head there, and the different helmeted head. I'm not a massive fan of this helmeted head, but I'm going to use it anyway. I think it's a bit too thick on there, but I like the front grille and things. So you've got the you of course have the plasma pistol, which again you could, you know, probably use with your berserkers. You've got a different power plant. Again, you could use that. You've got a top part for the Juggernaut's head. You've got different greaves and shoulder pauldrons as well. You could use those in other World Eaters kits, and more shoulder pauldrons and more little accessories like skulls and pouches and leg joint pieces. So you really do get a load of extra parts there, probably more parts than Eternus and even the Lumineth dual kits. So I hope that helps in understanding why it is this price. So size comparisons then, and the very first size comparison I'd love to make is just with Angron right here. Of course, the Lord Invocatus is £37.50, Angron is a whopping £95, but that just gives you an idea of just how big Angron is compared to the Lord, if you're going to run them both, or if you're thinking about picking them both up. I don't have any Khorne Berserkers, so I can't give you that sort of comparison yet, but I will bring these two models and the Exalted in with their comparisons later on. I do have a Demon Prince, so if you were thinking about running Demon Prince, he's about the same height as the Demon Prince minus the wings. And then we've got one of the other new miniatures, one of the 8-bound. I built the 8-bound, not the Exalted. The Exalted are same height, so that's where they stand next to the Invocatus if you wanted to know the size differences. Another couple of size comparisons make is just with a Possessed for normal Chaos Space Marines, and a Terminator if you wanted to know how big he was next to one of those, and of course Abaddon as well. So he is a fair bit taller than Abaddon. He's on one of the big cavalry bases like the Varangard ones, one of the biggest cavalry that they do. So yeah, he's a big mini, he really is. Not sure about more presence than Abaddon. The final comparison I like to make is just with the usual three miniatures, such as the Primaris, Sly Marbo, and a normal Space Marine. So yeah, that's where he measures up. He's going to dwarf normal Primaris Space Marines, so you know, unless they're packing a Redemptor Dreadnought or one of the big tanks, he's going to rise above the rest of your opponent's miniatures, if they are indeed using Space Marines or Primaris. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the World Eaters Lord Invocatus. You'll find him in your brand new 9th edition World Eaters Codex, and he is in fact the second HQ choice in the book, straight after Kharn the Betrayer. So the Lord Invocatus is a power points cost of an 8 and a points cost of 160, which means he is more expensive than Kharn the Betrayer. His stat line reads: he's a movement of 12 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill both 2+, strength and toughness are both 6, 8 wounds, 7 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 2+. Comparing that to Kharn, he's double the speed there. He's got 2 more toughness. He's got 2 more wounds. He's got 2 less attacks though, so Kharn does beat him with the number of attacks there. However, the Juggernaut does have its own weapon profile that has 3 attacks, so that's bumping the attacks up to 10. The Lord Invocatus is equipped with a bolt pistol, Coward's Bane, Juggernaut's Bladed Horn, frag grenades, crack grenades, and your army can only include 1 Lord Invocatus. So the bolt pistol, just a normal bolt pistol. I would have preferred him to have some kind of bespoke weapon or even a plasma pistol, but the bolt pistol does the usual damage, so it's a range 12-inch, pistol 1, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1 weapon. But Coward's Bane is his chain axe, and it's a melee weapon. It's strength of the user, which is 6, AP -3, damage 2. And each time an attack is made with this weapon, invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against that attack. that's pretty crazy, really. So although it doesn't have the same armor penetration as Gorechild or the same damage, he is negating invulnerable saves. The Juggernaut's Bladed Horn is a melee weapon, strength of the user, which is 6, AP -2, damage 1, and each time the bearer fights, it makes 3 additional attacks with this weapon. It's just something a little bit extra. Abilities: the Blood Tithe and Warp Strike. Sigil of Corruption. This model has a 4+ invulnerable save. So 2+ normal, 4+ invulnerable, toughness 6 with 8 wounds, very survivable. Leading the Charge. While a friendly World Eater's core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit is selected to make a normal move or advance unit until the end of the phase, add 2 inches to the move characteristic of models in that unit. So you might find that extremely useful for Khorne Berserkers, giving them a movement speed of 8 inches, or even bumping up the movement speed of Terminators, or 8-bound. Means that 8-bound can then move 11 inches, which is pretty horrific. Warlord trait. If this model is your Warlord, it has the following Warlord trait. Road of 8 Bloody Steps. At the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, you can select up to 2 friendly World Eaters core units within 9 inches of this Warlord. This unit and the selected units can each make a normal move. It's pretty good. Keywords: Chaos, Khorne, Heretic Astartes, Butcher Astartes, World Eaters, Cavalry Character, Demon, Fly, Lord Invocatus. So there you go. Quite a powerful, if not expensive, unit for your World Eaters, but definitely worth picking up because he's very tough. He's got a lot of wounds, got decent save, he's fast, he can dish out 10 attacks, and he's bumping up the speed of your core units as well. Certainly a nice upgrade over the normal World Eater's Lord because of the improved melee weapon speed and save. But what do you guys think of the model and the unit in game? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Blood for the Blood God.